As promised, here goes the solution to coding challenge number 2. Alright, so here's the challenge again. Let's divide it into parts. So first are the number 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then based on all of this we create the function, right? So we start by creating a new array with some years. Simple enough, right? Just creating some space here. Alright, so var years. Of course you can use any name that you want. It doesn't really matter. You don't have to follow the variable names that I'm using here in my solution code. So 2001, 1985, 1994, 2014, and 1973. So just 5 years. And then we also create a new empty array called ages. So this just creates an empty array with nothing inside of it. So number 3 is to use a loop to fill this array with the ages of the persons. So this should also be pretty easy, right? We just need a for loop with the counter starting at 0 and going up all the way until the length of the years array. Dot length. And after each iteration, it just increases by 1. So we have done this once before. If you cannot remember it, you can of course simply go back to the lecture and take a look at it again. Now to fill the array, I very simply do it like this. So ages I. So at the position of the current counter value, I simply put the result of 2016 minus the year of the person. Alright, so we have calculated ages a lot of times now. It's always 2016 minus the year in which person was born. Now it's simply inside of a loop. It works the exact same way. Just to make it clear again, we start at position 0 of these arrays, and then we will execute this loop until the counter is 5, which is the length of this array, and as soon as the counter is 5, we stop. And at each iteration, we write at the current position of the still empty ages vector, the age of the person that we have here in the years array. Alright, and this is number 3. Let's check out what we have to do at number 4. So use another loop to log into the console whether each person is of full age as well as their age. Okay, so this sounds like we're going to use another for loop. So it's I equal 0, and actually up here we have to first define the variable, right? We didn't do it first. So we define variable I as 0, and then it goes all the way up to 5. And down here we simply set it back to 0, but we don't have to declare it anymore. That's just at the first time. And now we execute this loop as long as I is less than ages dot length. And it doesn't really matter because the size of the ages vector will of course be exactly the same as the years. Okay, now we need an if-else statement here, because we want to log if the person is of full age or not. So we simply do if ages I is greater or equal to 18, then we log to the console person is, now let's put the age here too, age plus years old, and is of full age. Alright, and if it's not the case, then we can use the same code and just say and is not of full age. So let's see if this works. Alright, so we have a bug here, but this one is pretty easy to find because it tells us that at line 460 age is not defined. So 460 is here, and of course age is not defined because we called it ages. And the same happens here. So this should be corrected now. Alright, and it works. Just need a space here, but that doesn't really matter. Well, it should be prettier if we had the number here, right? So let me put it here. Say person, and I can say A, and then like this. Okay, so person I is years old, and the same thing down here is okay. So person 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And to make it even better, and now remember that I should probably put the parentheses in here. See, if I don't put the parentheses here, JavaScript does the type conversion, and it basically converts this 1 into a string. So it simply added the 1 as a string, but not as a number. But I wanted it as a number. So by putting it in the parentheses here, I'm telling JavaScript, hey, do this calculation first and then add all these strings together. And now we have it. So person 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this looks a lot better, right? So person 1 is 15 years old and is not of full age, correct? 31 is of full age, 22 is of full age as well. This person is 2 years old, and so of course it's not of full age. And 43 years old, of course, this person is of full age. So this is working. Step number 4 completed. Let's take a look at number 5. So now we have to create a function which receives this vector of the years, so this one, as an argument, then executes steps 2, 3, and 4, and returns a vector of these Boolean values. True if the person is of full age, and false if it's not. Okay, and we already have done something like this here in this loop. So I suggest we just create a function. So print full age. So function print full age. And it receives a vector of years. So these are steps 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I'm going to go ahead and copy these right into here. So I should have cut them because I don't want this here anymore. Well, of course I don't want to define the years in here, right? So this has to be outside. Right, yeah. It said only steps 2, 3, and 4, and I also included the first step, which I shouldn't have, right? So the year stays outside. And then we create a new vector here, or a new array actually. And then we do this calculation of ages. And down here, we print to the console if a person is of full age or not. Now, instead of just printing it, we also want an array, right? As it says here, we want a true false array if the person is or not of full age. So I would suggest that we create a new empty array here and then use this if-else statement here that we already have with the full age check and simply add the true or false value to our array and then finally return this array. So let's now do that. So var full ages. All right. So here is when a person is of full age. So it prints to the console that the person is of full age, and then we want to add this to our array. Now we could do it the way we did it up here. You see, we put the array and then the index number and then just put the value in the array. But there's another way of doing this, and so we're going to use the push method. So I'm going to use full ages dot push and then push true. And if the person is not of full age, then I will simply push false to the array. And remember, push puts an element at the end of the array, which is exactly what we want. Push false. All right, and now at the end, we simply need to return the full ages array. So return full ages. And that's it actually. So we've done everything that the challenge asked us to do. So we return a vector of true, false, Boolean values. True if the person is of full age and false if not. Now we simply have to call the functions with two different vectors and store the results in two variables. Alright, so first one is full 1 and it will be print full age. And the vector that I'm going to pass will be called years, which is this one that I could actually bring down there. And var full2 will be print full age as well. And now I have to make up another array here, which I don't have yet. So let me say 2012, 1915, so someone really old, and let's say 1999. So what is going to happen? All right, cool. So person 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which comes from this function call here, and then person 1, 2, 3, which comes of this function call. All right, great. Now all we need to do is to actually check if our function returned the correct array. So let's just write it here, full 1, and yeah, false, true, true, false, true, which is here false, true, true, false, and true. All right, so this is correct. And now full 2 should be false, true, false. Right, so this person is not of full age, so it's false, and here true, and then false again. Great, so everything is working as expected. So, challenge completed. Great. So you've come a long way up until this point, and this is really great. It's great to see that you're still with me. Now, some JavaScript courses stop at this point and consider that you already know enough to write some JavaScript on your own or to even code some applications. But this is very far from the truth. And don't get me wrong, because as I said, you have already learned a lot by now, already. But we are really just getting started here, with a lot of great content coming up over the next sections. And there's really still a lot to learn, because we have not even coded a real cool project so far, right? So right now, you should actually get some more practice and come up with your own examples and your own code to really understand everything that we've done so far. And after that, you can continue your journey and come with me to the next sections and start the really cool stuff of this course. So I can't wait to see you there.